Life has a strange way of teaching us lessons, usually not through the moments we plan for, but through the moments we can't control at all. The missed opportunity that turns out to save you, the person who leaves, only for someone better to take their place. The delay that felt like failure but was actually protection. If you've lived long enough, you already know this pattern. And yet, most of us still spend our days gripping tightly to outcomes, trying to force life to move at our pace, as if peace were something you could squeeze out of the world through sheer effort. The Stoics understood something about this that most people never learn until much later in life, often the hard way. Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled an empire, who buried his own children, who led armies through years of war he never asked for, wrote to himself in the quiet of his tent that the things we cannot control are not worth our anguish. Not because they don't matter, but because fighting them changes nothing except the peace inside you. So today, we're going to talk about something simple and yet almost impossible for most people to actually practice: the art of relaxing your grip. Trusting that what is meant for you will arrive without you having to choke the life out of every moment trying to force it. Before we go further, I'd love to know, what's the one thing in your life right now that you're gripping too tightly? Type it in the comments below. And if this message finds you at the right time, consider subscribing to the channel so more of these reflections can find you when you need them most. There's a woman I think about often, though I never met her, only read about her in an old letter passed between Stoic students centuries ago. She had lost almost everything in a single year: her home damaged beyond repair, her savings gone to a business partner who disappeared, and still she wrote that she had never felt more free. Not because she'd stopped caring about her life, but because she'd finally stopped believing that gripping tightly to any of it had ever kept it safe in the first place. This is the part most people miss when they first hear Stoic philosophy. They assume it means not caring, detaching from life, going numb. But that's not what Marcus Aurelius meant when he wrote about accepting what happens to us as if we had wished for it ourselves. He wasn't asking you to stop wanting things. He was asking you to stop believing that your peace depends on things going your way. Think about the last time you tried to force something, a relationship you clung to long after it had already ended in every way but paperwork, a job you begged to keep even as it slowly drained you, a plan you refused to let go of even after life had clearly closed the door 3 separate times. What did that gripping actually get you? Usually just exhaustion, and usually the thing you were holding onto so tightly ends up leaving anyway just later, and with more damage done in the meantime. Epictetus, who was born into slavery and later became one of the most respected teachers in Rome, said something that still cuts through modern noise almost 2,000 years later. He said, "Some things are up to us and some things are not. Our judgments, our efforts, our choices, these are ours. But outcomes, timing, other people's decisions, the weather of life itself, these were never ours to control, no matter how hard we grip them." Here's what nobody tells you about relaxing your grip. It doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing your part, fully and honestly, and then releasing your hands from the outcome. A farmer plants the seed with care. He waters it, tends the soil, does everything within his power. But he does not stand over the ground pulling at the stem, trying to force it to grow faster. He understands that some things unfold on their own timeline, and that his job was never to control the growing, only the planting. Most of us live the opposite way. We plant one seed, then spend the rest of our energy yanking at it every single day, checking if it's grown, panicking when it hasn't, convincing ourselves that our anxiety is what's making it grow at all. But anxiety has never once made anything grow faster. It only exhausts the person carrying it. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, almost as a daily reminder, that everything happens as it should, and that if you watched closely enough, you would see the strange and perfect design behind even the things that felt unfair in the moment. He wasn't naive. He watched plague spread through his empire. He watched betrayal from men he trusted. He didn't relax because life was easy. He relaxed because he had finally accepted that his gripping had never once changed the outcome of anything, only the quality of his days while he waited for it. There's a kind of relief that comes the moment you actually believe this. Not a lazy relief, not an excuse to stop trying, a deeper one. The relief of no longer needing to control everything in order to feel safe. The relief of doing your work, showing up fully, being honest, being disciplined, and then simply letting the rest of it unfold the way it was always going to unfold, with or without your permission. Consider what you're gripping right now. Maybe it's a relationship you're trying to force into something it was never meant to be. Maybe it's a career outcome you're checking on constantly, refusing to look away for even a day. Maybe it's a version of your future you've decided has to happen a certain way, by a certain age, or else you'll consider yourself a failure. Ask yourself honestly, has the gripping made any of it arrive faster, or has it only made the waiting heavier? Seneca wrote to his friend Lucilius that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Most of the suffering around the things we're gripping isn't coming from the thing itself. It's coming from our own minds, endlessly rehearsing worst-case outcomes, trying to prepare for pain that hasn't even happened yet, and in many cases never will. So what does it actually look like to relax and trust that what's meant for you will come? It looks like doing the work without checking the clock every 5 minutes. It looks like being honest in your relationships without needing constant reassurance that they'll last forever. It looks like applying for the job, sending the message, taking the step, and then genuinely turning your attention back to your own life instead of standing at the door waiting for a response that hasn't come yet. It looks like trusting the timing of your life the way Marcus trusted the timing of the empire he was given, not because he understood every part of the plan, but because he'd finally accepted that his gripping had never once been the thing holding it all together in the first place. If you take one thing from this today, let it be this: you are allowed to want things, you are allowed to work hard for them, but you are not required to suffer in the waiting. The seed is planted. Let it grow the way it was always going to grow. If this reached you at the right moment, subscribe to the channel so more of these reflections can find you exactly when you need them. And tell me in the comments, what's the one thing you're finally ready to stop gripping so tightly? Thank you for spending this time with me. I'll see you in the next one.